Hi guys, Tamrakshan here. The smallest yet powerful flagship level phone that you can get right now in 2021 is the iPhone 12 mini. Well, this phone is surely a throwback style one where Apple did bring back the compact form factor in a newer modern format. But then even though there were plenty of hype during the announcement of the 12 mini, well after that, the sales wasn't that mind-blowing. In fact, the 12 mini was a phone that the majority didn't prefer to buy. Well, does that mean it's a bad phone? Well, certainly not. But after using the 12 mini as my daily driver phone for the past 7 months, I think I have a clear answer to why this phone is not for the majority. Well, the simple answer is that the iPhone 12 mini is a phone that's launched in the wrong time. Now, back when we had the iPhone 5 or even the 5S, well, at that time, people didn't rely on their phone as much as we do now. Because 5 to 6 years back, well, majority of the stuff was preferred to be done in a bigger screen device like a laptop or a computer. And phones were used the way they were intended to be used. But then gradually, phones became the primary media consumption device, and hence they started to grow in size, thereby providing bigger displays. And right now, that's the normal, and when a change happens, it won't be received that well. So that's the main reason many didn't prefer the 12 mini, and to make things even tougher for the 12 mini, well, if you spend a bit more money, you can get the regular iPhone 12, which is a bigger phone, which in effect has a couple of solid advantages over the 12 mini. And those advantages are the drawbacks with the 12 mini, and after this long-term usage, the core drawbacks I have faced from the 12 mini is actually two. Well, the first one is the pretty obvious one, which is the battery backup limitations. It is something that is not a surprise, and the reason for that is just physics. You can't fit a massive battery in a compact phone, and hence the 12 mini's battery capacity is just good enough to give a screen on time in the range of 3.5 to 4 hours. Now that's the screen on time I was getting with moderately heavy usage pattern, and for me, I always had to charge the 12 mini twice a day. So from that itself, it's very much evident that the 12 mini is a phone that's not meant for power users. But here, if you're a person who's just a casual user, you won't have much issues with this battery. And probably the phone will last you for a day too. But then for moderate to heavy users, the 12 mini is a big no. And here with the battery, another key thing to note is about charging. Well, the 12 mini does support fast charging as well as 12 watt MagSafe charging. And with my 12 mini, the charging method I have followed this long is just MagSafe charging. And that might be the reason for this much drop in battery health over the course of 7 months. And also my experience with MagSafe charging was not that great other than the convenience factor. And the reason I'm stating like this is because of an issue that I ran into while using this charging method. And that issue is overheating. Well, the phone literally locked me out, stating that the phone needs to cool down before I can use it again. And this happened when I was charging the 12 mini through the MagSafe method, and at that time I did turn on personal hotspot too. Well, that's kinda like pushing the limits into a heavy usage pattern, and that might be the reason for the overeating, but still nothing like this ever happened while using the regular iPhone 12. And this eating issue is my second concern. Now it's not this overeating problem, but it's the phone getting a bit too hot than what I was expecting while doing gaming for about 15 minutes, or even while multitasking for an extended time. Now you won't probably notice this issue if you're using a case like this silicone case, but if you are a person who doesn't use a case, you'll surely notice this heating problem if you do a bit of intense stuff with the 12 mini. Now again, this is also something to expect because it's once more basic physics. Everything is packed in a confined manner because of the space limitation, and given the fact that the 12 mini actually has the iPhone 12's internals, well, the heat dissipation is a sure problem, and I think Apple doesn't use much of cooling techniques too. And here, this problem is something that I've noticed after using the 12 mini for about a month or so. And here, if you're a person who is concerned with these issues, well then surely think a lot before getting the 12 mini. And like I said earlier, the iPhone 12 doesn't have these two issues, and it's not a very expensive one over the iPhone 12 mini, and surely that's the phone I'll always recommend if you're planning to buy an iPhone at this moment. But that said, the iPhone 12 mini's remaining stuff are actually good to impressive. And the reason for that is because the internals, like I said, is basically the same as the iPhone 12 with certain parts shrunken down. And here the best example of an impressive thing in the 12 mini is the camera system. This is one of the best smartphone camera system period. There are two 12 megapixel cameras on the back, where one is a normal wide-angle camera and the other is an ultra-wide-angle one, and they do capture excellent photos, especially the primary sensor. Let it be any lighting scenario, you don't have to worry about missing that moment. Colors look great with a bit of saturation, but still looking very true to life, and the dynamic range is perfect, and also the sharpness is well maintained. And yet this primary camera's main highlight is actually the video recording capability. Well, I'm not talking about the Dolby Vision HDR video, but instead it's the normal 4K at 60 FPS videos. They are just awesome. Stabilization is the best, and also there was no focusing issue, and even the exposure control was good. Now with the HDR video support, well, other than using it in the beginning for my review, after that I didn't actually use it. It's mainly because of the lesser supported hardware for viewing it, but still having such an option in this tiny phone is a big plus. And here the ultra wide angle camera is always a welcome choice over the zoom camera, even though the ultra wide angle shots are not perfect. Now this is not the best ultra wide angle camera for 2021, and for that I feel the OnePlus 9 Pro is the king, but still having this option is always a handy thing. And here even the 12 megapixel selfie camera is a strong one. The selfies are wide and also crisp. It's not only because of the good sensor, but it's also thanks to the great processing done by Apple's A14 chip. And this front camera is actually a great one if you're into vlogging. And given the fact that the 12 mini's form factor is small does make things easy while we record front camera videos. So that's everything about the camera system, and this feature is an impressive thing in the 12 mini. And actually the performance also falls in the impressive side. Well, that's because of the powerful internals, which is basically the processor. It's Apple's A14 chip, and here the RAM available is 4GB, and about the storage, it's the typical Apple options where the base variant just has 64GB, so always check the second variant which has 128GB. And here the processor in the 12 mini is a very capable one, and hence things are butter smooth. Now you won't notice any frame drops or lags or slowdowns while doing anything. And here even though the display doesn't have a higher refresh rate, the scrolls and swipes are fast, and this should give you the idea how good this processor is. And here a big advantage that you'll get in the long run is in the software support, because the 12 mini for sure will get software support for approximately 4 to 5 more years, and I strongly believe like 4 years from now, based on performance, the 12 mini will impress us even then. So that's with the performance, which is also an impressive thing with the 12 mini. And the next thing we are going to check is the display, and after using the 12 mini for about 7 months, I'll rate it as great. The display in the 12 mini is a 5.4-inch display, and it's an OLED one which has Full HD resolution, and here the peak brightness level this display can reach is more than enough, and hence the overall experience from the display in the 12 mini is enjoyable. Now when I initially started using the 12 mini, well, I was doubtful whether I will get used to the display size, basically because of this notch, as it did stand out more, but after some time, well, I got used to it. I won't term this display as a small display based on the length, but then based on width, it's on the smaller side, and initially the typing experience was like a bit cramped, but after a while, well, this issue also faded away. And now I can type pretty quickly, and also while watching videos, the experience is nice. But then with games like Call of Duty, I don't prefer to use the on-screen controls because you lose the immersive part, and hence the controller usage is the recommended method. And overall, since the display is an excellent one, the experience after this long is great. But that said, the speakers, well, I'll rate them to be just good. Well, the quality is not at all complainable, but the loudness level is on the lower side. This is a dual speaker setup, but here the bottom speaker is a smaller unit, and hence we can't expect more from it. But then since the earpiece is loud enough, well, calls did sound great, and here since the form factor is compact, the calling experience is the best. And actually this compactness of the 12 mini is the most standout part of this device. But I'm not going to say the usual initial review thing about the size of the 12 mini, because by now you should have a clear picture that this phone is a small one and its dimension is somewhere between the original iPhone SE and the iPhone SE 2. But then a thing I'll touch is the way the design has aged after using the phone for 7 months. And this aging thing has been good with one minor issue, which is the paint chipping off. Now this is a common thing with colored iPhones, and here the areas where the color fading has happened is around the camera ring and also the mute-unmute slider. And the reason why just these spots took the hit is because I did use this phone majority with the case on it. And if I would have gone caseless all the time, well then probably there would have been more cosmetic issues. And about this back glass, which is a fingerprint magnet, it doesn't have much scratches, and that can be again because of using the case. Then about the ceramic shield glass's durability, well, it's something that I'm not at all sure about because I've used a glass screen guard all the time. But here about the buttons, they all still work great. So that's all about the durability of the phone, and here the 12 mini, to be frank, has held up fine. And here some of the last things to note in the 12 mini is that it does have flagship features like the Face ID unlocking method, and a deep 6-meter depth for 30-minute water resistance is present because of IP68 rating. And the 12 mini is even a 5G supported phone, which makes it the smallest 5G supported phone. But in India, 5G testing is currently not possible. And also the phone does come equipped with all the sensors, including Apple's ultra-wideband chip and NFC. And here the number of SIMs supported is 2, where one should be an eSIM and the other a nano SIM. So from all this, well, after 7 months of usage, what I have found out is that the 12 mini is actually a phone which does work like a flagship one in majority of the user needed factors. And here if the couple of issues I have faced was not present, I would have preferred this phone over the regular 12. But here these two issues, well, it's kind of like a part and parcel of this small form factor, and I feel there isn't much Apple can do with this dimension. But then if you're a person who's very much fond of small phones, you'll most probably be eyeing the 12 mini, and in fact most would have got one already. But for the others who might be confused whether they should get one, Well, I won't recommend it, especially for the price it's selling now. And maybe in future, if the pricing drops drastically, well, then getting one is a good option, but then also do keep in mind the limitations. That's all for this video, guys. Hope you liked it. If so, a like is much appreciated, and a sub to the channel will be awesome. See you again in the next one. Till then, bye.